Alright, we're going to talk about exceptions. In our previous videos, we talked about exception here in this example when we divided by 0. So here in my case, the variable b is equal to 0. So if I divide a to b and the result would be an error, which I catch it with the exception, so my program won't crash. If I run it, you see I get error attempted to divide by 0. I didn't console the right line, this part attempted to divide by 0. It is the exception message. So let's uh, control our exceptions particularly. For example, look, if I hover over parse here, I get exceptions below. System argument null exception, format exception, overflow exception. In this case, in my exercise, I want to get divided by 0 exception. And I'm going to call it exe. So for exe, I'm going to get, for example, 0 exception. 0 exception test. So you see, this divided by 0 exception is only for when we use divided by 0 and when we get that kind of error. So let's test that. If I get 9, now I get 0 exception test. But if I get another exception like format exception, like if I enter something like here, now this block won't run. It will go to the exception X, and this time this line would run that the error is input string was not in the correct format. So let's also get an exception for that. I think it is we have it here, format exception. So if I get format exception and I call it exception F, stands for format, then write that format is not correct. You can also give the exception message if you want to. So if I run it now, I get this. Format is not correct. Input string was not in the correct format. Yeah, as you can see, this time it goes to this block because I define it. Now what else? I think if I enter a large number string, then I get this error. Value was either too large or too small for int 32. So I don't know the number, the exception name. How can I get it and define it particular here? I can get it in the public exception for I can say like use the method to string for it. Okay, this time I believe I can get the exception name. So I enter a large number and yeah, system number bar PL. Okay, here it is. It is overflow exception. Let's define that. So if I get uh, overflow exception, uh, expo, then write number is huge, for example. Okay, now if I get a long number is huge. I don't get that public exception anymore that was 3 lines. I just get whatever I enter in the particular exception of the overflow. Here it is.